Chloe's finished counting. That means, yeah, we are. We must be on. Okay, that's terrific. That means I've got to come in and introduce the letters right now. So we walk around here, we leave the coffee there, we put this away. This is the sheet that you've answered for us. You know, the questions that we ask you to go online and say yes or no to? Thank you, Taylor. And she makes a good coffee. These are the letters for tonight that our all-female panelists will be, all-female panelists? All-female panel will be discussing. I was dumbfounded and angry to read that real equality for women will not be achieved anywhere until 2221, 200 years from now. Second letter tonight, how awful. We don't feel safe to walk in our streets anymore. Don't we? Why not? What's making it unsafe? There are some safe countries. You can walk anywhere in the streets in Japan. Third letter tonight, how hard is it to get a job nowadays? Because everybody asks for experience. Why shouldn't they ask for experience? How do you get it? That's what the panellists will be answering tonight. Don't go away. Sweet and Sour coming up right now.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour. It's time for
Oh,
Sweet
good
and
evening, everyone.
Sour.
Welcome to Sweet and Sour. Lovely to have your company. Gary Mitchell with you for the next fun-filled half hour. How do I know it's going to be fun-filled? Because Margie's back from Europe. Hello, my darling.
Hello, Gary.
Welcome
How are you?
back.
Thank you, thank you.
And you're glowing. What a beautiful tan.
Well, it was summer where I was, so it was very nice. I was on the sunny shores of Greece.
Oh, how gorgeous.
Yeah, it was really lovely, beautiful.
How do you feel coming back to winter?
You know, it is a little bit of a shock because obviously it's raining and stormy and all that, but I think I brought a bit of sunshine home with me, actually.
Oh, and onto this panel. Lovely to see you, my darling.
Thank you.
Snooksy, terrific to see you too, mate. Normally you're here without me.
Well, normally I'm here and you're not.
Who was here last time you were here?
Darren DeMello.
Darren DeMello.
The microphone destroyer.
The mic? Daz, don't listen to her. We've actually paid for that microphone and it's all good now. No problem. How are you?
Good.
How's the market?
Good.
It's all right?
No, the rental market's been a little bit slow, but I think it's picking up now.
Oh.
Got a good feeling.
Well, I hope it comes true. These property markets all around Australia are just killing me, I think. Well, I'm only invested in Perth, so it's okay. Hello, AJ.
Hello.
I haven't seen you for ages either.
A long time.
Too busy being a mum.
I know.
No,
and working, taking over the world.
Well, how much
good to be
sleep are
back.
you not getting then?
About an hour a night's good. That's all we need. No, I'm joking.
Is that how much you're missing or how much you're
That's how
getting?
much I get. No.
All good?
It's all good. It's
Oh,
happy
good.
days.
Oh, good.
Good to be here with you.
Oh, nice to have you here, hun, too. Hello, Nat.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm really, really good.
You're always really good.
I know.
You're another one with a beautiful glow about you, too. Have you been out in the sun or is that something out of a bottle?
No, honey, that's all about just genetics and what you eat.
And what you eat. Oh, good, because you're very good at things that you eat,
A
aren't
little
you?
bit of a food activist, me.
Food activist. When did you cease to be a chef?
About 6 months ago now.
Are you enjoying the break?
I'm really enjoying the creativity instead of just productivity. It's creativity when you're in one of these phases and you're not chefing. So I get to write books and do TV shows.
Will you ever go back to
record
chefing?
videos.
You're having too much fun.
Ask me in another 6 months.
Too much fun.
Can't-
Here we
can't
go.
commit.
First letter of the night. Nice to have you here now. Dear Mitch and panel, wow, I was really dumbfounded and angry to read that according to a university political science study, real equality for women won't be achieved until the year 2221. Dumbfounded because it's more than 200 years from now, and angry because I realise it's probably very accurate. I get it because men in general, especially the younger ones, still objectify women in a big way. Our Western society continues to use what it always does, the almighty dollar, to try and compensate for the problem. But it doesn't cut it. Salaries might be moving in the right direction, with a long way to go, mind you, but attitudes are moving at a snail's pace. To the females on the panel, what behaviours do you think we should immediately stop tolerating? And what else can we do to make sure this movement has more of a chance of succeeding in our lifetimes? And it comes to us from Ricky of Bellevue Hills in New South Wales. AJ, what do we do?
Look,
Because if you do nothing, it's 200 years away, according to that.
I that's ridiculous. I don't know how they can scientifically study that. But look, I'm a mother of 2 boys and
How old?
turning 9 and turning 5, and they're magnificent men. I know. Let's not get started on that. We'll talk later. It goes so fast. But it's really important for me. But there's things that they do naturally. They go, Mum, here's a flower, you like pretty flowers, or you like pretty things, Mum. And I don't know where that comes from. It's sort of natural. But where do we find that line where they stay gentlemen, but they're always going to treat women equally? They know that Mum can do what Dad can do to a degree. But I just find it gets messy, and then we end up beating men. And I say hashtag great men, because there's lots of great men out there that do give women equality, and we're so busy in this equality movement, beating men up, I feel. And I just get lost in this conversation.
Stop beating up men.
I just think, yes.
And just move along with the issue.
It will happen, and women,
Stop beating up men. Men stop beating up women,
women
will
stop
make
beating
equality
up men,
happen. And people start.
It will happen, and it is
helping
happening.
one another.
And men are lovely, and there are so many phenomenal men out there that do see women as equals and do see the great women that can do great things and are still gentlemen at the same time. And I say hashtag great men. Make sure you tell people about your great men as well.
It's got something to do with an educational level, I think. I don't mean that disrespectfully to anybody, but different generations who are
It
stuck
is coming out in the generations.
And I've also noticed younger people who don't aspire to greater education also have very traditional views of the female role in society.
Well, I bought a new car recently, and the guy goes, "Oh, lucky, aren't you a lucky girl?" Like I'd been bought it, just as a side note.
We had a letter like this last time I was on, if you remember. Look, I think real equality is a misnomer. I do, because how are you going to achieve real equality? It's like comparing apples and oranges. If you're going to sit there and compare, and then if you start in that arena, where are you going to stop? You've got gender, you've got race, you've got,
true.
You've got age, you've got beauty, you've got intelligence levels. People are going to be, different. And I think that we should actually celebrate our diversity and look at what people's strengths are, rather than having to pigeonhole them. And you know what? Fair work, fair pay, well, that depends on how good a job you do as a person.
Of course, but that's what we're trying to get to, so that it's all about how good the job is as a person. But, for women, there are still so many areas where they're pigeonholed because they're the nurturer. And our societies in general don't cater to kids. They're starting to, but if you're a woman and you've got kids, you have to sit back, and males have to do it too, but it flips to the woman.
It's actually, to a certain extent, harder, because as a woman you've got all this stuff going on in your head, and I think sometimes it's just a little bit harder.
It is harder. It's harder. Our economic structures don't actually make it easier for people to have kids, and that role tends to just default to the woman. Stace, or is it? No, it's Margie. Stace gets the last word.
Oh, yeah, that's a good word. Gary, where do I start?
Where do I begin?
Yeah, do I want equality? I'm
yes,
a little
you do.
bit
You
with
want
the
equality
girls.
of opportunity.
No, I want, you know what? I can run my own race, and I'll make sure that people see me in the light that I give off. I don't necessarily want to, rise up so that men have to shrink down. I'm with you, Amanda. I think that men are wonderful, women are wonderful. I love the difference of all of us. I think it's a little bit sad that in our world that we're in, and the women are trying to be everything, be the man, be the woman, be the father, be the everything. I actually love being a woman, and I love my man to be a man, and I'm quite happy with that. Saying that, at work, I do a great job and I work hard, and so yeah, I want the same pay as the next person next to me. If I'm as good as them, that's what I expect. But in life, I want my daughters to be treated beautifully. I want them to treat the men beautifully. I don't want equality. I don't want to, lose that.
You want equality of opportunity, Margie.
I want to run the race that I want to run.
That's
I
what
think that's
we want
what
for
women
everybody.
should have. Yeah, but I think that we're losing it, Gary. We're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Got a long way to go yet, Margie.
No, I don't
Quality
think
of
it's that
opportunity
far.
ain't there for a lot of people in society. I don't think it's there for women yet. It's much easier.
In a Western country, we're very lucky, and I think
lucky.
that often we're shooting ourselves in the foot, and I think that that's a real shame. I think that as women, we need to be strong, powerful women, but we need to not become hard women, and we don't need to shrink the men to do it.
You don't need to do any of those things to ask for equality, though. It's not giving up those
But
things.
that's
seems to be
what's
a side
happening.
effect. It
You
is a
know
side
what? You
effect
don't
of it.
have to do
Well,
it,
you
but
don't have
that's
to
what's
succumb to
happening.
those side effects. Those things are choices. Last word, Nat.
Stace.
Stace,
Anywho,
how's your beautiful sister Nat?
don't worry, I get called Natalie quite frequently, so I kind of answer to both.
And we've got Nat on the panel as well.
Anyway,
That's quite natty,
personally-
isn't it?
It is very natty. I've never felt inferior to men, so I don't know why
Good girl.
there's this big drama happening. But at the end of the day, look, there's some things that women do better and there's some things that men do better. So as Margie said, run your own race, be happy with what you're doing and keep going.
We asked you people at home to answer this question for us. Do you feel we are centuries away from real equality for women? Here's what you said. 43% said yes and 57% said no, we're not centuries away. So there you go. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about how safe it is in our streets. Who feels safe? Ooh. Nobody's excited to say yes. When we come back, more of Sweet Sour. Don't go away.
It's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. If you'd like to send us a letter, send it to the address that's appearing on your screen right now on any one of these social media points. Can you read all of those, Nat?
I
Nat.
can read all of them. You're the one with the eyes.
Okay, all right. What's the top one?
sweetandsour.net.au.
Well done, that's our website. And there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's a whole lot of things. And if you can't get them here, it's not our fault, all right? There's plenty of them. And you can even write us a letter to care of the studio
Snail mail.
that you're... What?
Snail mail.
Snail mail, that's it. Do we still have snail mail? We do. Did we tell you that the movie we're sending you to this week is The Leisure Seeker, courtesy of Natalie Cameron and NRC Communications? There you go, up there. Starring Donald Sutherland. Hi, Sweet and Sour. How awful that we don't feel safe to walk in our streets anymore. Eurydice Dixon's murder is not only a shocking tragedy for the Dixon family, but for all of us. Suburban streets not only 30 years ago were full of people, kids strolling to school or sports, activity happening everywhere. We all felt safe to stroll even at night. Now, except for a few lucky ones, most streets have become empty, dark, unsafe places of fear. We need to face it that we simply don't have the political will to provide police with the resources needed to make our streets safe again. Bette Midler had the right idea all those years ago when she decided New York had to be made safe. She backed a push by the Angels, a vigilante group of volunteers who started by riding on trains to make all the subway safe. They then spread through the entire city. The Angels have a code of behaviour and are all volunteers. More than that, it was so successful that Bette's support got them private sponsorship, and today, with many other reforms like the 3-strike rule, New York is one of the safest cities in the world with the lowest incidence of gun violence in the States. Now that's something. Surely it's time here to call for vigilante volunteers that can operate under and in conjunction with our police. It's time for action. Do the panelists have any better ideas? Comes to us from Leslie of Aldana in South Australia. Nat.
I love Bette Midler.
I love Bette Midler too.
Right. Look, actually, it's a really sad story. She was 900 metres from home. She texted her boyfriend to say that she was close and I'll be home in a second, and she never made it. Let's counter that with 900 metres from home. My partner was driving.
This is Eurydice we're talking about. Yeah, awful.
And he was driving up the road and he got pinged for doing like 52 over the limit. And sometimes I do think it's a little bit about focus, because I just feel like we do have the police capacity. I'm just worried about sometimes where their focus is, to be honest. I'm glad Bob's not on the panel tonight. But I do worry about
Hello, Bob Kachira.
Yeah, hi Bob. I do worry about sometimes where our focus is as a society on, yes, speeding's not great, but there is actually crimes happening out there, and it does seem to be growing. I'd love to say
You don't think we need vigilante groups with you?
I just think we need to be really sensible where we place our resources.
AJ?
Yeah, look, I absolutely agree. I think there's when there's festivals or there's activities going on, the police are in force and you feel really safe and they're there. But I mean, they're tired as well. I mean, they've got restraints with budgets and the government's not sort of funding them where it needs to be. It's one of the areas they do pull from, but I don't feel safe. I never have felt safe. I don't know whether that's just I'm scared of shadows anyway, so I'm probably not a good person to ask, but no, I don't feel safe ever. So I'm always, I mean, I was, like I said, I was ringing my husband on the way here because I was walking around the corner and wanted to make sure someone was on the phone with me. I always do.
What will it take to make you feel safe?
I don't know if I ever will though, because there's always going to be someone and they can't always be there to protect you.
Stace, do you feel safe?
Not overly. I'm a big security person. I'm secure about everything, always on my guard. I think we do need more police presence, and I think the government really does need to put a lot more money into the police presence, and I think we should double the police force, pay higher wages to attract more people, because it's not a highly paid job at the moment for the risk that they take. I think we also need harsher punishments, and they need to address all the young children that are flying around out in the streets at night, because why are they there? And there's a lot of social problems, and no one does feel safe. And look, I have to agree, I'm always pretty vigilant about going to my car at night. I'm parked out the front tonight, and it's just not right out in the street.
Margie, do you like vigilante groups, the idea of them?
No, I actually don't like the idea of a vigilante group, but I travel a lot internationally, and a lot of countries have extensive camera systems, so I think that's fantastic. If you're doing nothing wrong, you've got nothing to worry about. So I think that's fabulous.
Very clever.
I love lighting. I think any well-lit area is a great thing. Personally, I just try and be very alert wherever I go, and I just try and sort of be aware of where I am and the amount of people that I'm in. And if you start to walk and you end up in a bit of a quiet spot, probably go back the other way. But fundamentally, I think that one of the things I have noticed, Gary, is the armies around the world are actually out on the streets more. So if you go to France or London or Madrid or Rome, the army's actually out on the streets active. And I actually had a situation. I had a very unfortunate man try and, cause some grief to a friend and myself. We're in the streets of Rome, and I just saw in the distance an army man start to put his gloves on. And he was very calm and very good, and this man was obviously on drugs or something, and the army man just very quietly put his gloves on, quietly walked over and used his body to just sort of move the man away. And I've got to say that I felt very good walking around the streets, and the army were actually there. And we have a great army here in Australia, and we're not an active, fighting country. So maybe...
Oh, yes, we are.
No, not constantly in our own country. Yeah, we help other countries, but I figure that maybe those people, we can start to use those resources, certainly in our busy
Army
streets.
reserves, perhaps, as well.
Mix them in with our police force and make it a safer place.
We asked you people at home to answer this question for us. Like New York, are vigilante groups the answer to making our streets safer? And like most of the panellists have said tonight, here's your responses. Only 29% of people said yes, and 71% of people said no. When we come back, we're going to talk about how hard it is to get a job if you haven't got experience, and what do you do to get experience, because no one will give you a job unless you've got that experience, and it's a vicious cycle. When we come back, more of Sweet and Soak. Sweet and what?
Mr. Gary Mitchell, a man whose talent is only exceeded by...
Everyone else's.
It's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Sorry, we're on. All right. Welcome back. Letter 3, what a job do you guess? Mark, how hard is it to get a job nowadays? Everyone asks for experience, but no one will give me a job to get any. I've been trying for over 6 months, and most don't even bother to respond or acknowledge my employment submission, and they certainly completely ignore me if my level of experience doesn't meet their criteria that's pitched so far above anyone just graduating like me. So I'm constantly being ignored and don't even get an opportunity to interview. The only one to date that I've heard back from is a job application that I submitted full of lies. I also submitted a truthful one, which of course was ignored. When I told my dad, he told me that everyone is creative when it comes to job applications and to go for it. But I figure I wouldn't be able to deliver if I get a job on a false premise. So I don't know how much to lie and in what areas I should be embellishing the most. So please let me know just how you got jobs when you were first looking and what's important to an employer. I'm getting depressed. Kessie of Parkerville in WA. Margie, first up.
Okay, well, there's a few sides to this letter, isn't there, really? So if you really want a job, organise a mentor program. So go to a company that you really like and ask them to mentor you. You might be able to go in a day a week, be in contact with one of the people and actually sit with them. Often companies are open to that. Also internships, you know, like say that you're happy to give your time to learn. And once you get your foot in the door and they get to know you and you get to know them, that's a great way to enter into your company. But I'm going to say this, Gary, and I know this from, you know, my own history, my own work history, but also I have 3 grown-up children, and I'm astounded by the lack of manners from professional firms. You know, when I was younger, you know, they would get 500 applicants and you would get a letter saying that they received your application and a letter to say whether you were or were not successful. Do you know now these kids are putting in application after application.
And
they don't even get acknowledged.
Nothing back, no acknowledgement.
And I think that's just poor manners. So I think a lot of companies need to step that up and have a look at the way that they conduct themselves, because I think that that's not on. And I also think, you know, when you're going to apply for a job, you need to present yourself, you know, accordingly. So, you know, we've got a bit of a joke with our friends. You don't wear jeans to a court, to an interview, to a funeral. You know, there are some things you just need to learn. And if you're going to be applying for jobs or going for interviews, you know, whether you like it or not, you need to conduct yourself in a certain way.
Come on in, Stace.
Well, I completely agree with Margie there. You do need to conduct yourself appropriately in an interview or when you're applying for a job. You need to make sure that your letter is well written, doesn't have spelling mistakes, is set out properly, because I remember going through letters when we, you know, were looking at interviewees, and if they had a spelling mistake, we'd just like throw that one out of the pile.
See you later.
Yeah, we didn't even read it.
So many, you had to be ruthless.
It was ridiculous. And when someone comes in for an interview, they need to be presented appropriately. They can't look like they're just going to a nightclub. That was another one.
Look good, sound good, read
and
good.
Exactly. And, you know, maybe you need to go and volunteer for a company. Say you're volunteer. Can you come in and do some filing, anything, so you can say you've got some experience.
Go and get the experience by volunteering.
And you need to sell yourself in the letter. Just say to them, you know, I'm a quick learner, I'm well presented, I'd be happy doing this, that or the other, anything. I'm polite, I'm
going to wrap you up because our credits are already on the screen. Quick one,
Okay.
AJ.
Look, yes, just be determined. I sat in the foyer for weeks waiting to get work experience because I wanted the work experience.
You sat in the foyer?
I went there every day in the morning and waited to see the CEO.
Go in.
And I got it.
Go
that was
in.
my
Persistence
first radio
pays
gig.
off.
Absolutely, do it.
And we won't go to a slide on the screen because we've already got the credits up, but 71% of people, respondents to the question that we asked, which is it wrong to lie on your resume, 71% said yes.
Only 71.
Only 71.
Authenticity is key. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, authenticity is key.
Don't lie.
Don't lie, and then you won't have to be
No good can
pressuring yourself.
No good can come.
We've got to go. Ladies, say good night.
Good night, guys.
Margie, terrific to have you back.
Thank you, Gary. Nice
Stacey, lovely to have you back here as well. Okay, say hello to your cat. Doggy.
Oh,
little dog. Little dog. The other one died.
happens in the breaks?
AJ, your 2 little boys. How old now?
9 and 5.
Hey! Nat, terrific to have you jump on the
Who am
panel
I saying
tonight.
hello to? The cat, the girls, the what, huh?
Whoever you want to, you know, it's all over. Good night, everyone. Wave, ladies. This is it. That's it. See you next week, everyone. Thanks for watching, and thank you, crew. Good night. Bye-bye. How's that for timing? We managed to get it all in.